I was on a roll too from the beginning.
Yeah.
All right. Hey guys, how's it going? Dylan here, just giving you a quick book summary of The E-Myth for Real Estate Investors. This is a great book, very fundamental for business, and I think it's amazing that there's a specific book just for real estate investors. How lucky. So I'm going to go through and give you a quick update of some of the tidbits of this. We'll start with a quick demo of the E-Myth itself for people who haven't read it. I would recommend anyone go out and read the E-Myth, maybe even before reading the Real Estate Investor edition, just because the core principles of the E-Myth are so important. What are those principles, you may ask? We'll get to that. So the three people that the E-Myth describes are entrepreneurs, managers, as well as technicians. And so the reason the book's even called the E-Myth is because a lot of people aren't entrepreneurs, they're actually technicians or managers that are starting their own businesses. And so that's why the E-Myth stands for the entrepreneurial myth. It's because it's the myth that everyone in this society can be an entrepreneur. But as guys like Gary Vee will tell you, you have to know yourself before you get into business if you want to be successful. So a technician is somebody who works on the day-to-day. And in terms of a real estate investor, this is somebody who's like your plumber, your electrician, your painter, your carpenter. These are the technicians. They're amazing at the day-to-day. They're going to produce great work for you. That's their strength. A manager is ultimately somebody who manages. Not much to describe here. This is somebody who goes over the books a little bit more. This is somebody who looks in the past and will look up trends, will look up history, and can kind of manage the back of your business. Can see, oh, how much money do we have in the bank for investing? Can see, oh, how much materials do we have for our next construction job? Managers are very important. And then the final person, without any explanation, is the entrepreneur. And obviously this is the person who's building the business. This is the visionary. They're looking more into the future, and which is a great way to remember these three people. Entrepreneur is very future focused, manager is past focused, and then a technician is very present focused. So the entrepreneur is ultimately the one building the business. And if you want to build a business, you're going to have some entrepreneurial talents or some entrepreneurial tendencies. That's why it's the E-Myth. That was a great one. I was like into it. I was being, you get a while to loosen up, right? So the book, The E-Myth, starts off with Steve's story. Steve is an everyday real estate investor who's very successful doing real estate investing small time, even working in the real estate profession for a company, but ultimately with his family, he wants to move up to a full-time real estate investor and start his own business. And that's when the problems start, because Steve was a really great technician and he was even pretty good at managing things, but ultimately he couldn't build a business to save his life, and he wasn't a true entrepreneur. Steve was just running around doing all the jobs for everyone. He dabbled a little bit in outsourcing and hiring in external help, but no one would perform well for him. Instead of delegating, he was abdicating the work by just hiring it out because he ultimately didn't have a good idea of systematizing his responsibilities. And by the end of the story, basically his business was starting to crumble. It was bleeding into his family life. It was making his life stressful, which is not why you build a business, and also which is not why you get into real estate investing. You get into it for freedom. You get into it to leverage your time and your money. You don't get into it to bring on more stress, even though it may initially bring on more stress. Later on, the book transitions into Than Merrill's story. Than Merrill is a very successful real estate investor and one of the three founders of Fortune Builders. Him, as well as two of his other friends, founded this company, which, coincidence, three guys starting this company. They started out with this company, were having some troubles getting started, but then stumbled upon the principles in the E-Myth and ended up reaching out to Michael Gerber and bringing in a lot of the systems into the way they operate their own business. Than gets a lot more into the nitty-gritty details of real estate investing. Things that Michael Gerber can't really touch on as much since he isn't a real estate investor, whereas Than is very professional and has a big business. Okay, what's your tangent alert?
Yeah, tangent alert.
All right, okay. Quick tangent alert. While this is a great book for everyone, and I recommend everyone check it out, this may not be the best book for somebody who's at a beginner or maybe even an intermediate level in terms of real estate investing, just because a lot of the advice is about building a large-scale real estate investing business, basically doing it full-time, investing tons of money into it, which with real estate investing, there's a lot of people that are very comfortable at a very beginning level and they're very comfortable doing a lot of the work themselves. They maybe don't need a full-time manager to keep up with all the books because it's just a little bit of taxes they have to do and a little bit of calculation on investment. They can usually get by doing a lot of the technician work because they're maybe a very handy person naturally. And in terms of entrepreneurship, they maybe don't have that vision to bring it to a large scale. Ultimately, this is a great book and I would recommend it to everyone. However, it is focused a little more on the advanced real estate investor. So if you are beginning or intermediate, definitely keep that in mind when reading, but still make an effort to try to see what you can glean from this book and apply to your own investments, because I'm sure you'll find many, many key takeaways. I'm flowing now. One of the biggest takeaways from this book is outsourcing. And this is a tricky topic, and I think everyone knows they should be outsourcing. They should be hiring outside help, but a lot of people, especially real estate investors, we don't like to do this. We think that we can do everything ourselves because we have some natural talents. However, outsourcing is huge, and there's multiple chapters in this book dedicated specifically to outsourcing. I know us real estate investors can be a little hesitant when it comes to outsourcing just because all of us end up wearing so many hats anyways and learning about so many different things. It gets hard to find somebody who can do all those different things that we do. But that is one of the challenges, and that's, I think, the biggest benefit to this book. Than Merrill identifies 4 main parts of his real estate investing business, which he builds individual systems around, and then he outsources throughout in those systems. Those 4 main parts are lead generation, deal analyzation, rehabbing properties, and then selling properties. Those 4 things make up the majority of the work of a real estate investor once things are flowing, once you're operating at full capacity. And if you look at any deal you've done in the past as an investor, you can see all 4 of those aspects have come up. Now, whether or not you're at the level yet where you can hire a dedicated person for lead generation, or whether you can hire a dedicated person for analyzing deals, it's not super important. But at the very least, you should start considering where you can start implementing and hiring out people. One of the points this book makes is that you should aim to find places where you can hire somebody to replace you, where you'll get a 2x or 3x return on your capital for hiring. And so an easy way to analyze that is if you're making $20 an hour, try to hire somebody out for at least $10 an hour. What $10 an hour task can you hire out to a student, to a kid on the street? Things like that. If you're making $30 an hour, what $15 an hour task can you hire out for, even if somebody's only working part-time? That's one of the things this book really makes you consider, and multiple chapters go around that point of outsourcing. So I think that's one of the big takeaways of this book. Good point. All right. It's fun, man. I love shooting videos. One individual point that I personally got a lot from this book that might not apply to everyone is the importance of marketing and lead generation. And this is more of a personal note, but I find with my real estate investing business, one of the big bottlenecks is lead generation, finding those really good deals to invest in. And so this book goes into depth about marketing, different marketing strategies, as well as how to do successful marketing. Things that Than Merrill and Michael Gerber really, really make important is that you want to have your story figured out. You want to have your whole narrative. Think about how McDonald's has their story. Think about how Apple has their story. You want that story to be as appealing as possible to your target customer. Now, in real estate, you have multiple different customers. You have tenants that could be renting from you. You have investors that might be looking to invest with you. You have people who are selling their properties who are technically your customer because they're going to be selling the property to you. So they have to be bought into what you're doing with the property. All of these things become important. And Than Merrill actually recommends having multiple different binders and presentations for those different people you'll be interacting with. Having a binder for mortgage lenders, showing what you do in your deals. Having, even in a flipping business, having a binder of past flips. So when a home buyer goes to buy your property after you flipped it, they can see the type of work you're doing and how much of an awesome dude you are. I didn't do a wrap up. Yeah. Okay. How should I do a wrap up? Hey guys, this is Reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
So anyways, guys, that's it. That's my quick summary of the E-Myth for real estate investors. Please feel free to mention anything in the comments that you learned from this video or anything like that. It'd be awesome to get some dialogue going of cool things. I sound cheesy doing it. It's not a good one. Please feel free to leave feedback, and definitely give this video tons of likes because I know you want to. Other than that, hope you guys gleaned some good information, good tips to take on to your own business. Even if you aren't real estate investors, I think there's a lot to be learned from this book. I'm gonna do another one. Whew. All right. Remember, guys, knowledge, action, results. Take it easy. Also, make sure to subscribe because Matt said he's not gonna let me leave until you subscribe, until you press that subscribe button. So please, for my sake, subscribe so I can go home. Cool.
Awesome.
I like that one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
And like the Oscar award-winning. Okay.
This is going to be your breakout performance.
Yeah, guys.